Hello, hello, and welcome back. Happy Thursday to you. Wow, almost the end of the week. It's been a really busy week here. I don't know how you're doing. Definitely let me know. Let me know where you're joining me from. If you're joining us live, welcome to the show. If you're joining us on replay, happy replay day to you as well. I'm most excited to welcome you to today's live level up conversation.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market update. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hi, friends. I'm Winnie Sun, your host, Forbes contributor, CNBC council member, and award winning financial pro, here to keep you on top of all things relevant, trending business news and sometimes some fun added into there. But most importantly, what makes our show special is, of course, you. And you are part of our show. You are our live audience. We are going live today on, I think, 8 different social media platforms. So we love getting your feedback. In fact, yesterday was a huge show. We got so much feedback yesterday. It was so much fun. So those of you joining me live, hello, hello. I want to say a big hello to CrossX Fighter. I see Joshua joining us on YouTube live. I see Modern Mom joining us on YouTube live as well. Thank you so much, friends, for being here. We're going to have some pretty fun community moments today. But let's start off and tell you how the market closed, because you're going to like this news, kind of a continuation from yesterday. We have a triple positive day. The Dow closed up 323 points. NASDAQ up 207 points. We'll take it. And the S&P 500 also up 58 points. Now, all eyes continue to be on the Fed and what Fed Chairman Jerome Powell will be saying to us tomorrow. Will interest rates start to settle down, or are they going to continue to rise even higher? People are saying, is it going to be a dove discussion, or is it going to be a hawk discussion? You can kind of decipher what that means, right? It's going to be a little bit milder, a little bit more aggressive. We'll see, because it's going to be, we've now had a 2-day rally and everyone's kind of paying attention to Fed Jerome Powell's discussion tomorrow coming out of beautiful Jackson Hole, which is currently where he's at. Now let's segue into more drama. I mean, there's got to be financial drama, right? I mean, there's the Housewives, or the Kardashian shows, and I know that people like drama, but you might think in the financial industry, how much drama that we have. Well, if you've been following the show for some weeks now, the drama continues with Elon Musk. Now today, not a lot of feedback today, but I will tell you, today the judge orders that Twitter this time has to hand over some more data that's been requested from Elon's team. So Elon, as you know, they're going to fight this out in court. Looks like judge has now ordered that absolutely Twitter has to hand over some more info over to Elon Musk. We'll continue to follow the story very closely, but that's what we know today. Now, another area that is facing its own little bit of drama is Amazon. Now, yesterday we talked about how Amazon is now going to be selling Pelotons and helping, get some of their exercise equipment into your houses. Well, now Amazon, just when you thought Amazon was part of everything and could do everything and would make money selling everything, well, there's one area it looks like they're going to say, maybe not for us. In fact, Amazon just announced this week that they're going to be shutting down their Amazon Care division. Now, if you remember, we talked about this a few weeks ago, actually a few months ago. This is sort of their sort of healthcare initiative, right? They decided they wanted to work on primary telehealth, right? Especially during COVID, you'll have access to doctors and nurses and medical professionals and their urgent healthcare business. In fact, this was something that they had planned for quite a long time. In fact, just recently, as recent as last month, Amazon had actually said that they were planning to acquire One Medical, which is a much larger competitor in the telehealth and healthcare business space. Now, this Amazon Care was just launched in 2019. And actually, they launched it to be able to virtually connect doctors and clinicians over to patients on a 24/7, 365-day basis. I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of going to the doctor the doctor's office is just not a fun place to go, right? And sometimes, especially now, if you're looking to get an appointment with a doctor, sometimes it can take a matter of months just to get a standard appointment. Not the most efficient process. So Amazon has had sort of promised saying that they're going to fix this and make it more, more to Amazon's level of things, making a lot more sense, a lot easier to get the access that you needed to. And they had initially built this Amazon Pair product for Amazon's corporate employees, their own employees. Now, they also want to launch this out for enterprise clients of Amazon's. And to be honest with you, I even signed up to get more information about Amazon Care for our own company, thinking, I would love to be on the cutting edge if this means my employees have more access to the medical care that they want and just less stress. I would be all for learning more about it. I never got that email, never got a call. Now I kind of know why, because they're probably planning to close it down. So after gathering some more feedback from some of their employees, as well as people who have used the product, Amazon Care, they realized that this was maybe something that Amazon just wasn't a good fit for. So they're pulling out of it. And what this means for the tech giant is now 400 some employees, basically, who worked for Amazon Care. Many of them are going to go to other positions within the mega company, but others could, be looking for new jobs. Not sure yet on that, but that's what we know so far. Now, talking about medical, another area, another big story that I don't even know if it's getting all the press that it should be. And I'm curious because I see Vicky Garvey joining us on Facebook Live. I know she's joining us from the UK. I saw Sadiq joining us on YouTube Live as well. You want to see if you saw this article, this story, because I think this is really big. And I think it's a really big financial story as well as a health story. And this is a topic about long COVID. Now, many of you know we're still in a pandemic. About maybe like a little bit better than we were a couple years ago, but still we're in a pandemic. But this issue of long COVID continues to be an ongoing discussion. In fact, there was a report that just came out this week by the Brookings Institution. This is their report that released that said as many as 4 million Americans currently are out of work, okay, because of long COVID. Now, this isn't just everybody who has long COVID. In fact, they're saying that in America, over 16 million people who are working age, that's ages between 18 and 65, but I would say a lot of Americans actually work even beyond 65. But let's say just, between 18 and 65, you're talking about 16 million Americans right now that are suffering with long COVID. This is a big deal. I know a lot of people say, well, COVID's not that big a deal anymore. Omicron isn't as scary as Alpha and Delta, but long COVID is really, really scary. And so you're talking about now 16 million Americans suffering from long COVID, but 4 million of those Americans are out of work because they literally can't work because they have long COVID. And a lot of the study came out and showed that a lot of the industries heavily impacted by this are like hospitality, like restaurants, education. I'm going to guess travel and airlines as well, but healthcare. They continue to struggle. And this is a major issue, especially since we continue to struggle with labor shortages. And you're talking about essential workers. A lot of essential workers are dealing with long COVID. And based on this study, there's also news that show that the Brookings Institute estimated that this costs about $1,106 per week for in terms of average U.S. wages, and estimates that this absence of about 3 million people from the U.S. workforce because of long COVID is actually going to cost about $168 billion a year here in the United States. That's crazy. That's a crazy, huge number. So I just want to talk this through with you. Now, why is this important? Why do you want to know about long COVID? You may not have long COVID. You may not even have COVID. You might be like, I'm not sure how this relates to me. Let me tell you why it should relate to you, why you should plan for this. As a financial business person, right? These are the things you want to think about, because although it might not directly impact you, this is going to impact the cost of things like healthcare, like health insurance, like disability insurance, and long-term care. These are things that you're going to need to plan for in your financial future. So if you're looking at this and saying, you know what, this really worries me too, because I'm like, maybe I'm still going to work or I'm still going out. And so what if this happens to me? How should I plan for this financially? These are some of the tips I want to share with you at this moment. Number one, if you have it, Make sure you get that emergency fund funded. Make this your top priority. And then look at your household budget. Continue to keep as slim as you can, right? Keep that budget trim, and that way, whatever you don't spend, you can save for yourself. And then look at your benefits at your workplace. Consider things like, if it's cost effective to do so, consider things like disability insurance and long term care insurance, things that could provide for you in case you're not able to work. Or if later on, when you get older, if there's health ailments that you just want to make sure that you have insurance to cover you when you need to. So it's just some food for thought. Other questions on this, definitely reach out. I'll try to help you as much as I can. But these are things you should be thinking about. Now let's segue over to the student loan forgiveness. Now this has been a big news, trending news for the last couple of days, and if you haven't paid attention to it, let me tell you, that's okay, because you might not have student loans. In fact, I remember when I went to college, I had to get financial aid. I had to have student loans. I think I even had a Pell Grant in there as well. But this is a big deal. There's over 40 million Americans that currently have federal student loans. And most of these borrowers, about 37 million of them, are eligible for President Biden's new announcement this week of this forgiveness plan. Okay. Now, as long as you meet certain income limitations. Now, if you think only recently graduated students have debt, though, this might surprise you to hear that this definitely isn't the case. In fact, according to the Education Data Initiative here in California, where 1 in 10 actually have some form of student debt, and about half of those borrowers are over the age of 35 years old. And of those, almost 3% actually owe more than $200,000 in student loans. In fact, I've talked to a lot of clients, I've talked to a lot of people who actually have student debt much higher than that, because interest continues to ratchet up on the loan balance. So what started off as maybe a smaller sum, just because of time and interest, it just started to get bigger and bigger. So I can tell you, when I had student loans, it took me quite a long time to get them paid off, but nothing compared to what students are dealing with today. And I can tell you for sure, I'm sure a lot of people who are receiving this forgiveness, I want to say congratulations, because you probably feel a little bit better, or maybe a lot better, now that you have a little bit of that forgiven. Now, this student debt is under what they call the William D. Ford Federal Direct Loan Program, which is going to include things like the direct staffer loans and all direct subsidized and unsubsidized federal student loans. And under this program, Parent Plus and grad loans are also going to be eligible for relief. So why is this important, right? This is important because if you qualify and you have one of these federal loans, you're going to receive $10,000 of forgiveness towards your student loans. And if you receive the Pell Grant, you could potentially get up to $20,000. Now, $20,000 is a big deal, because 60% of those borrowers of student loans, of federal student loans, actually are Pell Grant recipients. Okay, so that's up to $20,000. Now, there's an income cap, though. This is important to know. Now, in order to get this forgiveness, right, you have to be earning less than $125,000 a year, and married couples or head of households need to earn less than $250,000 a year. Now, what type of loan? That's going to be really important, because some loans may not qualify for forgiveness. But what you'll want to do is you'll want to go to studentaid.gov, and then check what type of loan you own, sign in and use your FSA ID. And then you'll want to go to My Aid, that tab there, and search for loans. That's going to be critical. Now, if you have a private loan, unfortunately, some bad news. This actually doesn't affect student loans that are issued through private lenders, or if you refinance to a private lender, that's not going to benefit you much. But, for those of you who have a federal loan, definitely this is going to be potentially very beneficial for you. And private loans, believe it or not, makes up about 10% of total student loans here in the United States. Now, if you've already paid off your loans, can you get a refund? Some people have been asking. Now, technically, no. However, if you did pay off your loans after this March, I believe you want to do a little bit more research, because you could potentially get a refund. I've been reading more about that too. And to get more information, and just make sure you check the Federal Student Aid website. And you can also call their 800 number, which is at 800-433 3243. But that information is online as well. And we'll make sure to share that with you later on as well. But does this solve the problem? And this is what I want to talk about. This is really, really big. You see a lot of people online debating about whether this was a good decision. So I want to just say that this is definitely just a uh, financial band-aid, if you will. It will help millions of Americans. Obviously, getting at 10,000 or 20,000 of relief is huge, but we really haven't solved the problem. There's so many Americans borrowing way too much for tuition and higher education here in the United States, and when they graduate, what they earn so often can't even cover what they spent for school. It takes years. It's like a mortgage payment. And let's be honest, colleges and universities probably aren't like that incentivized to change the way they charge students, the way they run their business of education. So as long as there's demand and a finite supply, the cost has continuously the ability to continue to rise. So we got to work on that. I think we need to fix that. I think it's something that we need to talk about more so. I want to know what colleges are spending money on. And I want to know why some universities literally look like the Taj Mahal, like they're so fancy. Do you need, I went to a beautiful university. It was a public school, but it was, I do think there's areas that you could have adjusted in terms of costs that perhaps could make education a lot more affordable. Maybe you should have some financial people running these universities. That might be helpful. Now, in another area that's leaping out of control as well is mortgage rates. Now, mortgage rates here in the United States, once again, have jumped even higher. I'm actually kind of shocked because like last year around this time, it was about 2.87%. That's where the 30-year fix was about. Right now, this is crazy. The 30-year fixed mortgage is averaging about 5.55%. That is huge. That's a huge jump. So that's where it's at currently. Hopefully that'll get better, but it is what it is, right? But of course, we couldn't end the day without a fun story to share with you. I think you're gonna like this one. In fact, I'm really curious, Vicky and Sadiq and Joshua and so many of you joining, what you think about this. Is this a yay or a nay for you? Let's talk about hot dog popsicles. I know this is a real thing. This is not like a faux story. Believe it or not, okay, we are seeing Oscar Mayer is coming out and selling their first ever cold dog. Yeah, not a hot dog, a cold dog, like shivering cold dog. This is actually a frozen popsicle that tastes like Oscar Mayer's hot dog, their hot wiener that alleged. They're saying that this is going to be both refreshing and smoky, and they're going to have certain umami notes of a hot dog. It's going to taste like a dog. Well, I don't know if it's going to take. It's going to have the flavors of a hot dog. Maybe it'll taste like a hot dog. And they even made sure that they topped it with a mustard swirl. Okay, as someone who's like not a fan of mustard, that's just like, to me, that's just a complete no-go for me. But for those of you who are watching, I'm curious to see what you think about this. So they actually came up with this idea. This is like a social media thing, right? They came up with this idea via an Instagram post on Oscar Mayer's account. This was a few months ago. And I guess a lot of people who follow them on Instagram love this idea. Some people even called it a genius idea in one of their polls. And so, yeah, so right now in certain areas, you can buy one of these cold dogs, hot dog popsicle things for $2 at select pop bar locations, including, for those of you who are joining me for California, you can get them in Long Beach, New York City, New Orleans, and parts of, I guess, certain parts of Georgia while supplies last. So Pop Bar is I guess it's a chain of gelato shops here, and they've helped to create this Oscar Mayer flavor. I don't even know if it's flavor. I just feel like it's really, really crazy. And for those of you who watch In the Loop, you know that tomorrow we're going to do In the Loop with Greg tomorrow. And I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him how he feels about that. But before we get to him, I'm really curious of what you think. Vicky is saying yummy. Vicky is saying yummy to a cold dog. Really interesting. I really want to see, Vicky. I wish there were UK locations because I'd be really curious to see what you thought. Okay, so Cross-X Fighter, hot dog popsicles. Yes, indeed. Hot dog popsicles. What do you think? Is this something that you want to try? And Sadiq is like completely radio silent on this. So for those of you who are watching, first of all, let me know where you're joining me from. and let me know whether or not this is something you want to try. You know, a lot of restaurants sort of test these like unique items. I know Taco Bell did something really unique recently, and I know Starbucks always launches really interesting drinks seasonally, right? Um, Sadiq is saying, are they paying to try it out? They're not paying you to try it out. You have to pay for this cold hot dog. I'm really curious. I need to ask my producer, Curtis, to see if this is something that Curtis would want to try. I'm actually curious. I feel like Curtis could try. I feel like he would, just because he's a pretty adventurous eater. But I feel like for those of you who are watching, if you want to have some fun with your social media content, definitely go out and try one of these. Make a video, tag me on it. I think that would be really fun. Yeah, Vicky says that would be really, really interesting and really different. Will I be trying it? I don't know if I'll be trying it. I guess if I have time to get over to Long Beach. But that mustard thing, that was kind of a deal breaker for me. I'm not a fan of mustard. So yeah. So CrossFit Fighter Joshua says, I'll try a cold dog. Okay. So Joshua, you try it. Let us know what you think. We want a full report and even bonus points if you can take video for it. How about that? We would love to see it. So with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed our show today. I always appreciate you supporting our program. Of course, take a moment to share the show with someone that you care about on social media and make sure to tag me on it so I can properly thank you. Like I need to thank Vicky, and I need to certainly thank Joshua and CrossX Fighter. Just been so supportive, and I'm so appreciative of you being here for us each and every day. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes of Level Up on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, and Roku, and some other digital platforms as well. And of course, you can please check out Yes Factor with Winnie Sun on Apple Podcasts or wherever that you tune in to listen. And with that, be well. I can't wait to see you on In the Loop tomorrow. Take care now.